Another day, another ride. Hello dear viewer. When I arrived at the campsite and asked the woman there if I could pitch my tent, she panicked a bit. Her English was never that good, so I suspect she didn't understand the word tent. She then called her husband and gave me her phone. That didn't go well either, so he asked me to wait a moment. The owner arrived shortly afterwards and it was soon clear to him what I wanted. Finding a flat piece of grass was not easy, however. But despite, or perhaps because of, the difficult start, there was a warm atmosphere afterwards, although there were still some misunderstandings. I had seen on the internet that you could eat at the campsite. That was indeed possible, but I did not have dinner dishes. But if I was satisfied with the lunch dish as dinner, then it was no problem. I'm not that picky about food, so that was fine for me. However, it was prepared immediately, so that I was already eating dinner at 3:30. But the food was delicious, and so much that I did not need anything else for the rest of the day. Today I want to ride to a campsite near Podgorica, the capital of Montenegro. On the way I deviate from the route to see the Tara Canyon. This makes the distance over 119 kilometers. So today I rode a part on gravel road again. Only this time it was a conscious choice of mine to see the canyon. But after a few short but steep descents and the prospects that there will be more, I turned around before the end of the part. In retrospect, it was not necessary to ride that part at all, because what a particularly beautiful continuation of the ride. And although there was a sign at the beginning that the road was closed after 24 kilometers, I still rode on it. And yes, I ran into a barrier where I absolutely could not continue the road and therefore had to ride the same part back, but that looks different. And despite the fact that it cost you an extra hour, it was more than worth every second. What a beautiful landscape. A little after halfway, when you have had lunch at the restaurant, you realize that you are missing a pole from your tent. You try to remember whether you put it in your top case in the morning or whether you took it out somewhere along the way, but that remains a black hole in your memory. So I decide to drive back to the campsite where I stayed last night, hoping that I forgot to pack it and that the pole was found there. But that turned out to be a vain hope.